Ooh, in the world of full contact sports, mixed martial arts tops the list in terms of violence.
Where two combatants literally kicked the heck out of each other.
You can't do this on TV. You can't do this. It's not legal.
But there was a lot of blood. It was real blood. It wasn't fake.
Fighters are often bloodied and battered at the end of a match, and those are the winners.
Circuses, it's entertaining people with bloodlust.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's
Today is mixed martial arts. Mixed martial arts. Martial arts. You can't do this. It's not legal.
In the world of full contact sports, mixed martial arts tops the list in terms of violence. Fighters are often bloodied and
Where two combatants literally kicked the heck out of
I mean, the fastest growing sport in the world, not just in America.
Today is mixed martial arts.
What is MMA? MMA is mixed martial arts. It is exactly what it sounds like. It is the sport of fighting.
You can watch a fight for 2 seconds to see somebody get knocked out. Or you can watch a technical battle for 5 rounds and watch them roll, watch them counter, watch, it's a chess game sometimes.
Once we did the first show in America, Japan, South Africa have shows, all over Europe, China, so it's growing like crazy.
Contact sport where two men or women face off and fight. It allows and encourages different techniques from different styles, from different martial art disciplines. It allows both striking and grappling, but there are rules. There's no eye gouging, there's no groin kicking, no small joint manipulation. You can't break someone's finger like that. There's a ground game and there's a striking game, and the sport is growing rapidly. And even though it's less than 20 years old, competitive fighting as a sport is not a new idea. Wrestling is the toughest sport mentally, hands down. The level of commitment that you have to be a collegiate wrestler, Olympic wrestler, is unparalleled.
I'd say in wrestling it's probably 90% mental, 10% wrestling, because some guys want to lay over and just they don't want to fight. They don't want to have battle. When the toughness comes to them, they're going to shy away. And so I'd say the guys that are mentally tough are going to get through, and those are the guys you see on top of the podium. And as far as MMA, I'd say, a lot of it's mental too, because, you're doing, if you're in just a regular fight, it's a three 5-minute rounds, and when you're throwing punches, you start getting tired, and you're throwing kicks, and then you add in wrestling and submissions. I would think a lot of it's mental, the training, the fight out there, staying mentally tough during the fight, and that means focus, discipline, all the other factors. It's a bunch of different variables all combusted into one.
It's all about mental toughness, and knowing you just gotta get the job done no matter what. And you always gotta complete your goals. So I guess every match is gonna be tough. It's just a big mind game. You just gotta know that you want it more than that person, and you just gotta know that you want to win. I guess that's the only tasking part. Just mentally, it's hard. I mean, wrestlers are looking at MMA as like maybe that's our new professional way to go.
Judo is a grappling sport from ju-jitsu, which is the old samurai martial art grappling style.
There's throws, pins, submissions, like arm locks and chokes and stuff.
At first, for your first couple of weeks, you're just falling. You're just learning how to fall because you want to prevent injuries. Once you get into the sparring, which we call randori, very physical, very, very time-consuming, energy consuming, and my first match, I was so tired by then I felt like throwing up. So it's a pretty hard sport to do.
I did another martial art. I did traditional Shotokan karate for probably 8 years now. or 9 years. And the thing is, that's all striking, and there's really little grappling taught, so it was something new and something to kind of balance me out and kind of get that other extreme in terms of fighting.
It was the first, like, one of the biggest workouts I'd ever had, and so I've been kind of addicted to it ever since. In sparring and stuff, it's such a friendly atmosphere. People are so, like, the moment, like, they get a throw on you, people will offer you advice, especially, like, Sensei Yutaka, Sensei Josh. They're all really, like, quick to tell you, well, this is where your balance was off, this is what happened.
The tenets in judo are maximum efficiency, mutual welfare and benefit. So really the ideal in judo is to kind of treat everyone the way you want to be treated, I suppose, and get the maximum output for the minimum, or the maximum input for the minimum output. So yeah, you can learn some really good lessons, or you can just do it as a martial art. It depends on what your mindset is when you come into judo and why you're doing judo.
Like, I've almost never gotten angry, and it's weird almost when people get like this anger about them in a fight, because it takes a lot of the fun out of it, because it makes it, I don't know, a little bit too serious in my mind. People getting angry or people wanting to hurt the other person really goes against the whole spirit of judo. That's kind of the motto, is mutual benefit.
Even if you lose or even if you beat the other guy, I mean, it's polite to, I mean, you don't have to, but, you know, go shake his hand and stuff, because, you know, you leave it on the mat, really, is what it's about. It's like, you know, if you lost, if you won, whatever the refs call, you know, it's done, so you can't change it, so you might as well show some class.
Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, when you think of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, you think of the Gracies.
The Elio Gracie side of Jiu-Jitsu. The Elio Gracie side is always assumes that everybody who you are fighting is going to be bigger and stronger than you. And when you keep that in mind and come from that attitude that everybody is bigger and stronger, you will start working with technique as opposed to strength.
You need strength. My father, being very small and 140 pounds, didn't have the strength. So he pretty much learned by watching my uncle teach, what he learned from the Japanese. And on his mind, he just developed, he added leverage into the techniques. So he didn't invent a whole new style, he just made it easier. And like he always says, give me the right leverage and I'll lift the world.
Really, it's about, you know, technique over muscle.
I knew nothing about the sport. I had seen some stuff on TV about it, whatever, but we got to sparring one day, and he took me to the ground. Well, I got on top of him, and I was in right on top of him, and he had me in guard position. Well, I thought I was going to be able just to submit him or punch him until he quit or whatever, and he tied up my wrist, and I couldn't do anything, and he was hitting me from the bottom, and he had his legs wrapped around me, and I'm like, what the fuck's going on? I'm on top of this guy, and I can't fucking do anything, you know? I can't beat him up. This is stupid. Well, come to find out, he's a, you know, 3rd degree black belt in jiu-jitsu.
Leverage. It's based on leverage. I'm not there to try to punch him out. If I punch him, he will smile, punch me back, knock me out. So I can't exchange firepower with a guy that big. So I have to be able to maneuver him. It's like jump in a pool. He doesn't know how to swim. I know how to swim. So we just hang on to each other and I jump in the pool with him. If I know how to swim, I'll survive. I'll get out of there.
Boxing, everybody knows what boxing is. You know, you use your two hands, basically hit the other guy in the face.
I think I wanted to do it my whole life, pretty much. I mean, I grew up playing like soft sports, like tennis and stuff like that. So I wanted something to, you know, harden me up a little bit, but also, you know, just work on just keeping my mental focus. You know, I had troubles with that with tennis and stuff like that. So I knew boxing was like a sport where you have to put that stuff aside for, especially being an individual sport and stuff like that. So figured, you know, the best way to do that, call them the inner beast, I guess, what you say. We do it through boxing, you know. So, I mean, people, it's not really like the most glamorous sport, and people dog on it pretty hard, but it is a sweet science. You know, they say that for a reason. I mean, it is a sport. You know, I mean, you can say it's fighting, but it's a sport. If anyone who's an athlete and knows anything about it, you know, it's a sweet science for a reason. You know, it's not easy. So it takes years.
It's the speed aspect of boxing. You know, it's just beautiful movements. You look at Muhammad Ali. There's a guy, when he would knock people out, they'd say the fight was fixed because no one saw the punch. You know, you have to slow his stuff down to see what he's actually doing. And especially like with Roy Jones Jr., he is hands down my favorite fighter. He's unparalleled. In his prime, you just look at his stuff and you have to slow it down. I mean, you show a clip of him and you see what he does and you go, okay, that's not, you know, that's pretty good. You slow it down and you look, he's anticipating the movements of his opponent. He has already beat his opponent. It's like the Matrix. It's like he sees that stuff coming and he moves out of the way and then boom, you're done. It is a fight vision. You look at Sweet Pea, Pernell Whitaker. That guy made people just look silly. His defense was amazing. This guy is Neo from the Matrix. He could see punches coming. I mean, you have to slow it down to see just how beautiful his movements are. And Nassim Hamad, I mean, this guy is just a dancer. Him and Augustus are just, they're two dancers, and all they did was pretty much dance. So they would win fights by out-dancing their opponent. Nassim would just demoralize people. Could you imagine fighting a guy who just danced in front of you? You couldn't hit him. He just made you look like a fool. You were basically just, I'm gonna be on his highlight reel.
You'd obviously think, you know, boxing, you're throwing big punches at each other, trying to knock each other out. But I mean, if a real boxer is probably one of the most even-keeled you can probably meet. I mean, mentally strong, because I mean, they have to be able to take a punch, you know. So anything else besides that is pretty easy for them, you know, outside the ring, as far as mental toughness goes, or anger, you know.
The first lesson you learn in boxing, the very first thing, when you start sparring, of course, is when you get hit with a good shot, you want to get angry naturally. You associate physicality, getting hurt, with anger, with a street fight. And that is the worst thing you can do, because I'll tell you this, when you get angry, you lose sight of everything. You lose your focus, you lose your determination, and your skill set just goes right out the window, and you're trying to hurt the guy back.
Outside the ring, I mean, just like overall controlling your composure and just overall mental state of mind. I mean, you're in the sparring position and it's just you and the other guy, you know. It's like just as boiled down of, you know, humanistic nature as you can get, you know, two men battling it out at each other, you know. So when you take it down and kind of boil it down to that, and you can take out of just the mental toughness. I mean, when you're sitting there going, you know, I got to put all my anger aside. You know, you get hit once and you can't let your anger overflow and just throw wild punches and stuff like that. You got to be able to maintain composure and be able to keep your cool to wait for the right opening to go for your shots, you know, and stuff like that. So it teaches you to keep mentally strong, you know.